Hi, this is Rachel with Powerhouse Theatre. I'm the resident choreographer, but today we're going to be talking about dialects. We're going to do some dialect work as well as a little dialectal dramaturgy for the Brooklyn accent. What is a dialect? The great dialectician Jerry Blunt once said, "It becomes a purposeful act for a player to prepare himself to meet future needs by becoming expert in those major dialects for which his profession has the greatest use." Dialect is a distinctive form of pronunciation, also known as phonology, language structure, known as grammar, and vocabulary, which can be identified with a certain geographical area or a social class. A dialect is created whenever anyone speaks in a language not his own. In varying degrees, it possesses notable melodic and rhythmic patterns and develops its own idiom, expressions, or a manner of speaking. Although the words dialect and accent are almost interchangeable, in a scholarly sense, a dialect tells us the region or class origin of a speaker, and the accent, on the other hand, is simply a feature or attribute of dialect or language, referring more to its pronunciation. So what do we hope to achieve? Well, a dialect is an expressive tool that enhances the story and helps to develop characterization. Adopting a dialect increases expressiveness and enhances your ability to express the character's thoughts and emotions more accurately. It also reveals given circumstances, such as where the story is set and who the story is about, thus providing a dramatic enrichment to a play or musical. Dialect reveals the point of view and moral values of the character. A sense of identity has a big impact on the way one speaks. Morals, values, and worldviews are all encoded in the accent itself. And lastly, the dialect reveals the socio-economic standing of the individual, which is closely linked to the character's worldview that we just talked about. To this point, it is important to understand the society with which the character lives, as these cultural nuances are a window into the dialect itself. So now let's do a little dialectal dramaturgy for the Brooklyn accent. Brooklynese is used to characterize the indigenous people of New York and represent people of average to below average education and occupation throughout the city. Perhaps more than most big cities, New York City is a cultural and ethnic melting pot with vast diversity in all aspects of life, which also extend to the accents and dialects heard there. A Brooklyn dialect would have been heard in all of the boroughs. However, there is variation dependent on nationality as well as foreign and native influences, such as Irish, Italian, and Yiddish sounds and mannerisms which do exist within the dialect. Irish can be heard in the broad ah sound and dropped r, which are key principal characteristics, and can be heard in words such as father, which becomes fada, and car, which becomes caw, as well as a glide in pitch and elongation of vowels in words such as time, which becomes time, and like, which becomes like. Italian, it is noted, is slurred syllables. What do you want becomes what do you want? And Yiddish manifests itself in the addition of a g or k to the ing or sound. Running becomes running, and or running. Similar to the Cockney dialect in urban London, the Brooklyn dialect denotes a delineation between class, education, socio-economic status, as well as local customs. A phrase in an old-fashioned Cockney dialect, such as, "Ethel thought she'd take a soothing bath at 3:30, becomes, "Ethel thought she'd take a soothing bath at 3:30. Similarly, the Brooklyn dialect depicts the working class of underprivileged people of New York, who must strive for space and livelihood under competitive circumstances. So now we're going to talk about a few tools of expression. The Brooklyn dialect uses idioms such as kick the bucket and hang one's head. These are expressions of distinct style or character whose meaning is not predictable from the usual meaning of its constituent elements. Idiomatic expressions, also known as regionalisms, are peculiar to or characteristic of the Brooklyn dialect, as well as colloquialisms and colloquial speech, which is ordinary or very familiar conversation as opposed to formal speech or writing. The Brooklyn dialect shows a distinct attitude towards authority and those whose function it is to set standards of manners. Not disrespectful, but one of self-certainty and self-sufficiency, as if to say, you have your rules and I have mine, and mine are just as good as yours. Thanks for watching today's video. I'm Rachel with Powerhouse Theatre. We'll see you next time.